Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mark Richt Show, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. I'm Joe Zagacki. Don Bailey Jr. rejoins us on the show next week, and the coach will be with us momentarily. We are coming to you from Orlando, where the Hurricanes have relocated after Hurricane Irma, as the University of Miami gets ready for this week's game against Toledo, a 3:30 kickoff at Hard Rock Stadium. Hope to see you there. The Hurricanes are here in Orlando preparing for the game, and let's hear what the players had to say about their week of preparation for the Rockets of Toledo.
From what I can tell, they're a really good football team. They're going to challenge us one-on-ones. They're going to try to get free hitters in the box, and you just got to win your one-on-one battle. That's what it comes down to at the end of this game. And I mean, I think they're a really good football team. As you've noticed, their offense is very explosive. So at any moment, they can go down the field and score. So it'll be a really good test for our defense and really good for us, too, from an adversity standpoint, with being in a hotel and being away from each other for the last week or so.
They're a confident team right now. I mean, they're 3-0. They just won a barn burner, really at the last second. And, you know, they're a very, very confident team right now. The defense is, they're going to do what they do. You know, they do a lot of different things. And they're very versatile. They hit, you know, they're a physical team. So, you know, we got to do what we do as well.
The Hurricanes, of course, haven't played a game since September 2nd. So timing and conditioning, all of those things are coming into play for Miami here as they practice in Orlando. Now let's take a look at this week's highlights of the Hurricanes practice in Orlando, brought to you by UL Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
It's time to get it. It's time to get it. Let's go. Back to work, man. Back in Miami on Thursday. Friday, Saturday is playtime, prime time. We just had a bye week, that's it. We're going to get it in regardless. Tack, tack! Dog tack! Dog tack!
Right now, if he's on I want my shoulder right there on the 4. I want your shoulder right there on the 3. Here we go. Shoulder on it. Put your shoulder on it. Put the ball on it. Got to get back to tackling, man. Got to get back to tackling. Camera flicking. Camera flicking. Woo! Go! Go! First! Finish! Finish!
Happy to welcome you back to the Mark Richt Show, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki alongside University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. Don Bailey Jr. will rejoin us on the show next week. And Coach, it's great to be back practicing. You are here in Orlando getting ready for this week's game.
Right. We're in Orlando basically because it really wasn't safe to get back on our own campus. You know, we would have liked to have been at home and used our meeting rooms and used our fields and all the things that we're used to, but it just wasn't ready, and then so we had to go somewhere, and we looked at some places nearby Miami, and it was just tough to get a hotel where we could get the amount of people we needed to get at any one hotel. So because we were staying in Orlando, some of us were, some of the players, coaches, staff, and things of that nature were in Orlando through the storm. It kind of made sense to set up shop here. And we had some guys north of us that had to come, and we had guys south of us to come. And so we brought everyone back together and had a chance to be at a hotel where everybody could be in the same spot, have the meeting rooms that you need. Obviously going to the Wild World of Sports, ESPN, over there at Disney property has been fantastic for them to allow us to use their fields. It's worked out extremely well for us. And it's allowing us to heal a little bit. It's allowing us to be a team again. It's allowing us to get back in condition and get rest and get nutrition and all the things that you need to be ready to play a game.
Let me go all the way back to the beginning when actually the last time we gathered and the Hurricanes were getting ready to play a game against Arkansas State. At that point, a storm was bearing down on South Florida, Hurricane Irma. And I've lived in South Florida my entire life and never seen anything like it, Coach. And University of Miami, the administration and you really did practice what you preach. And the University of Miami is about family, and
Right.
you gave the opportunity for players to be with their family.
Yeah, I mean, we
You took care of them like family.
we did. When we decided not to play the game, we decided early enough in the process that Arkansas State could not have to sit there and practice up until Thursday or whatever. But we were getting ourselves in position to get everybody wherever they needed to go to prepare for the storm. And people that aren't used to hurricanes don't understand. You can't just wait till the day before
Right.
and start getting ready. You got to get ready 2-3 days in advance at least. And if we stayed and played, we could have snuck out on a Thursday and all. But in the meantime, we'd have to be preparing for this thing instead of preparing for the hurricane that was about to hit. And so we felt like it was in the best interest of everybody to get with their families and decide where is the best place for me to be. And so it was coaches, it was staff, it was players, and everybody had time to get where they needed to get well before the storm, get prepared, go through the storm together with family or however it was decided, and then have time after the storm to help put things together. I know everything's not back together in South Florida. I know that across the state. But there was enough time to get the basics done, and most everybody's up with power again and things of that nature. And so now it's time to play ball again. And to be able to come to Orlando and do the things we're able to do here has been a godsend, really.
I imagine this also is a pretty good illustration of teamwork between the head football coach and administration,
Oh, yeah.
Blake James and Jen Strawley.
Yeah, amazing cooperation from our administration. You mentioned Blake and Jen, just great people to work with. Sometimes making decisions for safety costs money, and so it's like, I could see some administration saying, we just can't do that. I mean, that never came close to coming out of anybody's mouth. We can't do that. They're like, whatever we have to do to keep people safe and get people in an environment, that is right, that no one flinched. But I will say, like even the hotel we're at here, the Disney property, people have either donated space or given us rates that are unbelievable. There's no price gouging going on around here. Everybody does rally, everybody does work together for the good of the group. And football is the greatest team sport there is. And even just as you play and prepare, but when something like this happens, guys get even closer.
There's something also, I think you would agree, unique about the South Florida community. It's made up of a lot of different people.
Oh, yeah.
It has a certain vibe.
Yeah.
But when the chips are down, and the chips are down this past week,
Right.
people really rally together.
Yeah, there's no question. People, maybe you might be a neighbor with somebody and hadn't said hello a whole lot just because everybody's busy. Everybody's got their life going on. And then all of a sudden when a tree knocks down your fence between you, you gotta figure out what we're going to do, and everybody's working together to put things back in order. And it's fun to see that part of it. You don't like to see devastation. You don't like to see damage. You don't like to see some horrible things that happen. But when they do happen, people know and realize maybe more than ever that they really need each other, and it just becomes natural.
Well, I think the only hurricanes we want to see now are the orange and green hurricanes.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we live up to our name as far as being able to get after people, but we're just thankful to be playing the game again, and it is a game, but it's an important one to us, and it's an important one to a lot of people that watch it, and we want to make everybody proud with how we go about our business.
All right, we're going to talk about how you reset the season with the squad and conditioning and all of those things. We'll do that. Plus, we'll talk about Toledo, Miami's next opponent. 3:30 kickoff coming up at Hard Rock Stadium. We'll continue with University of Miami head coach Mark Richt right after this. Welcome back, everyone, to the Mark Richt Show, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki with University of Miami head coach Mark Richt, Don Bailey Jr. rejoins us on the show next week. The Hurricanes relocated to Orlando to get ready for Toledo. When you got your team back, Coach, what did you find in terms of conditioning and where your team is mentally and physically?
Well, I think everybody was excited to be back together. I think everybody was excited to actually, I mean, even the first night, when we got everyone to gather together, it was, the first thing we did together was had a meal together. Then we had a team meeting together. And then we got on buses and we went to run in the middle of the, not in the middle of the night, but late in the evening. And I never seen so many guys so happy just to run. Most guys don't like to run gassers and condition or even just stretch before doing that. And there was a lot of enthusiasm just to be back and put your gear on and hear Coach Gus Felder, you know, bark out his commands, and everybody responded well that evening. And then we went ahead and practiced on, well, let me get my bearings straight. I guess we practiced on, Friday night was the night we got together. Saturday morning we practiced and conditioned afterwards. Sunday morning the same. And we were just trying to get a gauge of what kind of football shape they're in. But when we got here, we told the team the goal is to get rest. We're setting up a schedule where you're going to get 8 or 9 hours of sleep if you choose to. You know, you got to go to bed. You got to go to sleep. We had curfews, bed checks, and all that. But bottom line is you got to turn the TV off and go to bed. All right, and then we had a little break after practice before we met with them as the coaches were watching film. So they had another chance to maybe catch a nap or something. So we wanted them to rest their bodies. Then we wanted them to get the nutrition. A lot of guys were having a hard time getting proper nutrition when you're away from the program and going through the storm and all that kind of thing. So we wanted to get them fed right. And then we wanted to get them into the physical condition that it takes to play football. Running first, cardiovascular, you got to get that right. But you could be a great runner and not be ready to play football. You got to put pads on. You got to put helmets on. You got to run and change direction and go exert full speed and then rest for a moment. Exert full speed again, rest for a moment. Because that's what football is. You play a play. It takes 5 seconds, 6 seconds, and then you got about 25 seconds in between. You got to go do it again, and you got to do it over and over and over. And so we were trying to see what kind of shape they were in as far as football shape. And quite frankly, they looked better than I thought they would look. Now, you know, are we where we were? I don't know about that, but I didn't know what we were going to find. And so we not only did football practice, but we ran afterwards, which we don't normally do in season. I've always said I want to get conditioning during practice, but we felt like we had to do a little extra running afterwards. It was similar to coming off of a bowl or coming off of a regular season and starting bowl practice. Guys are in final exams. Guys are doing things different from football, and then it's like we got to get back in football shape. And that's kind of how it was. And I think Gus Felder, our strength coach, and Kyle Bellamy, our nutritionist, and everybody else did a great job of helping our players get ready.
I think the unusual thing is you almost feel like someone asked me the other day about college football season. I said, yeah, I feel like it's passing me by. I'm watching everybody play.
Right.
And from a coaching standpoint, you take your team, you mold them in the offseason through training camp, and then you got this great push-off at the beginning of the year, right, where they're all, and then as the season goes on, you want them to peak at the right time.
Right.
How do you find out where they are now? How do you get to
we got to play. We got to play.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you'd have looked at the schedule in the summertime and looked at Toledo game, you'd probably say, this time of the year, it's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. We're going to be used to it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be probably cooler up north. Here they come down here. You know, we should have a competitive advantage because of that. And now, do we really have that competitive advantage? They're definitely in football shape. They've played more games than us. They're in that mindset that we haven't been able to get into. You know, we've practiced a little bit again in the temperature that we need to be practicing, in the humidity and all that kind of thing. So we'll see if we're really in better shape than them. I'm not sure we are. I think we probably would have been. And I'm not saying they're not in good football shape, but I'm saying to go from cool weather to warmer weather, that's tough on a team. And I don't know if that advantage truly is what it would have been if we'd have been playing all the way through.
Do you think that some of your players, did they have a chance maybe to watch some of the games over the weekend, and that gets them a little motivated as well?
It does. It gets you excited. I mean, one thing we did is we streamed the game against Toledo versus Tulsa in the big room that we have for dinner. We just put it on the Drew Rossetti, our video guy, just puts it on the wall as big as you can put it, and so we're watching that game as it's happening live, and then I'm sure they watched other games throughout, and it just makes you excited about playing again.
All right, we'll talk about the Hurricanes' next opponent, Toledo. We'll do that in our next segment. Miami and Toledo, 3:30 Saturday at Hard Rock Stadium. Want to see a big crowd there. Should be a lot of fun for the Canes and Toledo. We'll do that as we continue on the Mark Richt Show right after this. Happy to welcome you back to the Mark Richt Show, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki, University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. Don Bailey not with us this week, but will be back with us next week. And on Saturday, it's Miami and Toledo at Hard Rock Stadium. Let's start with that. I imagine running through the smoke is going to be a lot of fun for these guys this time.
Yeah, for the players. For me, I hang on the side and try not to trip.
It might be a little extra special this year.
Yeah, it will be. They'll be glad to be home. They'll be glad to know they're about to play a game. They'll be thankful for everybody who's there to watch us, and I know I will be as well.
You had a very worthy opponent coming in also. This is a team that's been together for a long time. They've won at least 9 games in 6 of the last 7 seasons, I believe it is.
Right.
So they have a winning culture.
That's a great way to describe it. I've always felt like teams that are used to winning are the hardest ones to beat. I mean, you could play a team that's in a Power 5 conference, but if they're used to being 4-8, 4-8, 4-8, they're really easier to beat than a team that might not be in a Power 5 conference, but they're used to winning. They're winning 9, 10 games a year. They're favored to win their league. Things like that. Those types of teams, they're winning for a reason. They're doing the right things, and those are the teams that are the toughest to beat.
Is it harder? I guess really right now it's hard to evaluate what your identity. I guess you know what you want your identity to be on offense, but
right.
You only had 4 quarters.
Well, we've got good runners.
Yeah.
We want those guys to be able to do their thing and hopefully run the ball well enough where we don't have a lot of third and medium, third and long. I mean, we'll find out. But if we can't run the ball well, and we get forced into situations where they know we're going to throw it, we know we're going to throw it, that's where the defense has the advantage. And we need to win first down. We need to win second down and get it to the point on third down where we've reduced the yardage enough where we have a higher percentage of getting the first down.
Well, it's good to talk football again, right? We're getting back into that football.
Yeah, it's fun to talk
mode.
football. And obviously after the game, we'll be talking a lot more about football. But I do want to say that we love everybody in our Hurricane family, our fan base, our administration, our president, and everybody on campus, the community. We know there's still people are putting their lives back together. We hope that at least for a moment, either on television or by being at the stadium, our fans can enjoy the game of football again. And we will hope to play it in a way that'll make everybody proud.
All right, Coach. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Best of luck on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that's University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. And for the coach and Don Bailey Jr., I'm Joe Zagacki. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time right here on the Mark Richt Show.